Hello, everybody, and welcome to the recap. Welcome to recapping the first day of NFL free agency. We're gonna be going over stuff that took place on Sunday, and also the first day of the legal tampering period Monday. So before I dive into it, I want to quickly say if you are new, subscribe, greatly appreciate it. Leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on any of these guys I mentioned. We'll be going through pretty much every single sign-in, not all of them, but pretty much every single one. So, yep. With all that being said, let's dive right into it with what happened on Sunday. The first thing was Davante Adams going to Los Angeles Rams on a 2-year, $46 million deal. I do like this for the Rams. He's a really good receiving one to pair with Puka Nacua, and is a great option for Matthew Stafford. Them two playing together is going to be fantastic to watch. I do think there's probably a window where they could have kept Cooper Kupp, but he was released on Monday by the Rams. So there is that kind of like, damn, that sucks. We're nice to see all three play together, but they're trying to keep this window open with Matthew Stafford for as long as possible, and bringing in Davante Adams does that. Certainly, he's a damn good receiver still. Although his time with the Jets last year wasn't the greatest, nor was his time with the Raiders. But when given a chance and when given a proper quarterback, he's a damn good receiver. So I do like this move by the Rams to keep their window open because they have the defense that can definitely succeed in the playoffs and win them the Super Bowl. They were one pass away from the NFC Championship game, so they improve a little bit on the receiving core. So I do like this move. Next up, Harold Landry signs with the New England Patriots on a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. Just improving the defense. He reunites with Mike Vrabel, the outside linebacker in his position. Was kind of a downside for New England last year because they got rid of Matt Judon and Josh Uche was injured. So they've improved on that end, bringing in Harold Landry, who didn't have the greatest of seasons in Tennessee last year, but he is a pretty solid edge rusher nonetheless. And him returning with Mike Vrabel, he can definitely flip the script and get back to his dominant ways that he had. I do really, really like this signing for New England, and they've been a team that's made a lot of good moves this free agency. And I'm not the biggest fan of it as a Dolphin fan, but I am a fan of it because they had a lot of salary cap and they are spending it. Next up, Aaron Jones returns to Minnesota on a 2-year, $20 million deal. So the Vikings pretty much have everyone returning from last year's offense besides Sam Darnold, but we'll get to his signing in a little bit. Aaron Jones comes back, was a really solid running back for them last year, played really well. And the key thing is to have consistency with this offense, with JJ McCarthy, in theory, being the starter for them next season, or at least being the starter at some point next season. So having the same team that he had his rookie season, although he didn't play and was injured most of the season, it's the case where you have that team still that he was in training camp with, he was in OTAs with, he played with in the preseason a little bit. You have that same team, gonna give him the confidence for this next season. That's a very big factor in things. And then Buffalo came in out of nowhere, kind of shake things up. Josh Allen extended to a 6-year, $330 million deal. So Allen had 4 years left on his initial extension. This adds 2 years to it and kind of evens out the money a bit to a roughly $55 million annual value. And this is somehow still less than Dak Prescott's deal. Cowboys fans, I am sorry that Dak Prescott is making that much money, and Josh Allen is sitting really damn good. Again, about making 55 million a year now after just winning the MVP. He's their best shot at making and winning a Super Bowl. You're not gonna find easy. You're not gonna replace him easily. So you keep him locked in for the long term. He's not under contract until after the 2031 season, and I am not a fan of it as a Dolphin fan. But he is a damn good player, and seeing him stay in Buffalo is really nice for that community. I do have to say that. DK Metcalf was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers and then proceeded to sign a 5-year, $150 million deal. And this is an interesting one on both sides. One is the Seahawks are entering a very rough stage right now. They did sign Sam Darnold. We'll get to my thoughts on that in a little bit. But I don't fully trust the Seahawks now. The Steelers are in a weird spot. They still don't have a quarterback at the end of day one, but they have improved their receiving room quite a bit. DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Pat Freiermuth being the three main receiving options is a really damn good main three receiving options. And DK Metcalf being a kind of a similar style to George Pickens, where they are very good deep threats and big bodies just to go up and get a pass. You're gonna have no defense is going to like going against them. Now they did lose Najee Harris, but that's another sign we'll get to in a little bit. But that does definitely hurt this Steelers team. They also did lose a few offensive linemen, but again, we'll get to those. Adam Butler Adam Butler resigns with the Las Vegas Raiders on a 3-year, $16.5 million deal. I do like this for the Raiders. He was a really solid D tackle for them. D tackle for them last season, has really showcased his skills, and last season was kind of a breakout season. And now you keep him in long term, and you pair him with Max Crosby, who got a massive extension, and with Christian Wilkins, who you signed last year and will hopefully be healthy this year. Is not a bad trio to have to rush the passer on a defensive line. And with a Raiders front seven, that is a pretty damn good front seven, though they did lose a few pieces in this free agency as well to it. Devon Gottschalk got traded from the Patriots to the Saints for a 7th round pick. And I'm mentioning this because as a former Dolphin, and Devon Gottschalk is a really damn solid depth option for a defensive tackle position. The Saints are getting a good guy with him. He's a damn good player and kind of an underrated defensive tackle in this league. So I do really like that. And also only for a 7th round pick, it's a damn good value. Grady Jarrett was released from the Atlanta Falcons early on Monday and then proceeded to sign with the Chicago Bears for a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. The Bears so far have one free agency. It's only 1 day, so it's an overreaction. But they have done a lot this free agency, and especially when it comes to improving the trenches, this is just one of the many moves they made, and it's a damn good move as well. Grady Jarrett can get them, can definitely be a massive addition on that defensive line and that front seven. The question is just, can Chicago as a team get past their old ways? I'm not sure. We'll see. This is going to be a fun season, though, for this team because they have really improved a lot of areas. Jaycee Horn signs an extension with the Carolina Panthers, 4-year, $100 million deal, becomes the highest paid corner, and is well-deserved. An underrated corner purely because he does not get talked about enough for being on the Carolina Panthers. He's a damn good player, fully worth the deal. And the Panthers have, again, been spending quite a bit this free agency, similar to what they did last year. The hope is that Bryce Young can turn the tide and be a better quarterback than he has been so far. And if he can, this Carolina team is definitely going to be a dangerous team to play against, both defensively and offensively. I do like the pieces they have, and keeping Jaycee Horn for the long run is a big factor in that. Khalil Mack re-signs with the Los Angeles Chargers on a 1-year, $18 million deal. And this is them. This was a Chargers saying we prefer the availability of Khalil Mack over the youth of Joey Bosa, and that makes a lot of sense for a team like the Chargers, who are looking to make a big playoff push and make a deeper run this year after getting bounced in the first round last year. The Chargers as a whole are a really interesting team. They made a few other key moves this free agency so far. But keeping Khalil Mack was just the start of it, and that was one thing that they desperately needed to figure out before they can make other moves, and they did very early on Monday. Sheldon Rankins signs with the Houston Texans on a 1-year, $7 million deal. I do like this for Houston to bolster that defensive line again. And he returns to Houston after spending the year elsewhere. So he comes back. And Houston last year, again, then they didn't necessarily fall below expectations. They didn't necessarily exceed expectations. They got bounced in the divisional round for back-to-back years. And adding Sheldon Rankins, hopefully to that front seven, is going to be able to aid them a little bit defensively, particularly against the run. Hassan Reddick signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a 1-year, $14, and then right after, Chris Godwin re-signs with Tampa Bay for a 3-year, $66. Two good moves from Tampa there. One to improve the defense as kind of a Shaq Barrett replacement. The other to keep Chris Godwin in town and keep him paired with Mike Evans and keep Baker Mayfield throwing to two really, really damn good receivers. It was reported that Chris Godwin left damn near $20 million on the table to stay in Tampa, and I'm not surprised by that for a second. If you go back to my wide receiver preview for free agency, I said I expected Chris Godwin to stay in Tampa, and I will not be surprised if he takes a hometown discount. That's exactly what happened, and I do really, really like that re-signing and that Sheldon Rankins signing. Drew Dalman signs with the Chicago Bears for a 3-year, $42 million deal. And this is, again, another solid offensive line piece for Chicago to sign. Ben Johnson really knows what he wants to build his team around, and that is the offensive line, and also just the trenches as a whole. So I do really like this signing for Chicago, and a lot of what they've done this offseason so far is the fact that it has been primarily offensive line and defensive line focused, and that is how you're going to win a Super Bowl in this league, and they're trying to maximize what they can do with Caleb Williams on his rookie contract. BJ Hill re-signs with Cincy for a 3-year, $33 million deal. I like this because Cincy's defense was not great last year, but BJ Hill was kind of a bright spot and all of that. And if you're going to be losing Trey Hendrickson, you might as well keep someone from that defensive line that can get you some really, really damn good and valuable snaps. BJ Hill is just that, so he stays in Cincy. I really like that move. Javon Kinlaw signs with Washington for a 3-year $45, and Washington has been a pretty sneaky good free agency so far. Javon Kinlaw was the first big signing that they made, and it bolsters that defense and hopefully improves the run defense that they massively struggled with last year, especially against Philly. But again, hopefully Javon Kinlaw can improve that run defense, and if he can, Washington can be a sneaky good team. And this is just another of a multitude of signings Washington has made that I've really liked. Elijah Mitchell signs with the Kansas City Chiefs for a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. I'm mentioning this because Isaiah Pacheco was injured most of last season, so they really only had Kareem Hunt. You bring in Elijah Mitchell to be more so of that backup elusive back, while Kareem Hunt is the power back, and Isaiah Pacheco is the main elusive back. So it just adds another element to this offense. It was already a pretty damn good offense last year, but it's just another really cool and really good piece that KC's adding, trying to bounce back after losing in the Super Bowl last year. So I do like this addition. Milton Williams, he signs with the New England Patriots on a 4-year, $104 million deal, and then shortly after, Carlton Davis signs with New England on a 3-year, $60 million deal. And then shortly after that, Morgan Moses signs with the New England Patriots on a 3-year, $24 million deal. The Patriots had money and they damn sure spent it. Milton Williams was the highest rated defensive tackle free agent for this class, and New England signs him, steals him from Carolina, and that's a damn good addition to that front seven. Carlton Davis is a damn good addition to that secondary, being paired with Christian Gonzalez. And that is a damn scary second. Pretty sure Kyle Duggar is still there as well. So that's a damn good secondary, and one that not a lot of teams are going to be too happy going against. But at the same time, it's still New England, so we'll see. But I do like what they've made defensively. And then they improved the offensive line. Morgan Moses is brought in. I kind of wanted Miami to sign him. He's a veteran offensive tackle. Was on the Jets last year. Played pretty well, all things considered. But now he goes to New England, and he's going to be a pretty solid player for them as well. And New England's looking scary. That was 3 massive signings all in a relatively quick span. And I do like a lot of what New England is doing this free agency. They're really trying to maximize Drake May's potential and get him and surround him with a team that defensively gives him room to make mistakes and offensively gives him time to really learn, to really feel comfortable in the pocket and with this game and with his style of play. It's a really nice free agency so far. Mike Vrabel is doing a damn good job. DJ Reed is leaving New York. He signs with Detroit on a 3-year, $48 million deal. This is their replacement to Carlton Davis, and it makes a lot of sense. DJ Reed also a little bit on the healthier side compared to what Detroit had to deal with last year. So secondary ended up becoming a big issue for the Lions because of all the injuries. So they bring in another secondary piece that, in theory, can be on the healthier side. So I do like that. Trayvon Moehrig signs with the Carolina Panthers, a safety. He was with the Raiders, I believe, last year. 3-year, $51 million deal. This Panther secondary, again, looking a little bit better than they did last year. They have a better safety option. J.C. Horn stays. And all around, and the Panthers are looking to at least be a much more competitive team next year. This signing is a massive factor into that. So now the big one, really not the first quarterback off the board, but the first big quarterback off the board. Sam Darnold signs with the Seattle Seahawks for a 3-year, $100.5 million deal. This is a overpay and a half for Seattle, especially since the fact that they have gotten rid of damn near every single receiving option on this team. I do not expect Sam Darnold to play nearly as well as he did last year, just because he's going from throwing the ball to TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison. You're throwing to JSN, Noah Fant, and really no one else as of right now. Obviously, Seattle can add receivers and through the draft and through other means, but as of right now, I don't think Sam Darnold is going to be worth that much money, and I feel like he's going to take some steps back. He's going to take some steps back in his level of play, just because Seattle is not on the same level of a team that Minnesota is. Another quarterback off the board, Justin Fields signs with the New York Jets, 2-year, $40 million deal. This is a lot of money for Justin Fields, who hasn't fully proven himself yet. He played in 6 games with the Steelers last year, looked pretty good. Now he goes to the Jets, who are going to be dealing with some offensive line issues. Your defense might not be the same as it was. We'll see what Aaron Glenn can do with this team, but I do like the 2-year deal because it gives you a year and a half, 2 years to figure out if Justin Fields is the guy, and if he's not, he sets you up pretty well to either draft someone next year or in 2 years. So this is kind of both a future play for the Jets and a can we just find someone now play. But it is a $30 million guaranteed deal. $20 million a year is kind of a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I do like this signing for the Jets, and I would have liked it a lot more if they could have gotten on. They could have gotten a little bit lower money on the money mark, but still a pretty damn good deal. Cam Bynum signs for the Indianapolis Colts for a 4-year, $60, a pretty damn good secondary option for the Colts. He was the lead guy for a lot of the Vikings defensive celebrations last year, but he was also a pretty damn good player for the Vikings last year. So he joins Indianapolis, who are looking to improve their secondary. This is a damn good start into doing so, and a relatively good deal on top of it. Dyami Brown signs with the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 1-year, $10 million deal. This is at least a stopgap replacement for Christian Kirk, who was traded earlier in the week. And Dyami Brown had a really, really solid season with Washington last year. He earned this $10 million payday, and I feel like he'll fit just fine with that offense with the offense that they're building in Jacksonville. I'm surprised it's not a multi-year deal, but I could understand Jacksonville now wanting to give him a multi-year deal as of right now, because they're still trying to figure out their own team format and their own team style themselves. Talanoa Hufanga signs with the I'm 100% mispronounced that. Hufanga signs with the Denver Broncos for a 3-year, $45 million deal. This is someone I would have liked Miami to sign, but for $50 million a year, it makes sense that Miami was not in on him. And it's a damn good safety option for the Broncos to have. Their secondary is going to be fantastic next year. Patrick Surtain, Brandon Jones, and now Hufanga. Miami put up 70 on this team 2 years ago, and they took it very personally and have really built this team damn well. And is a big factor in that. And again, just a really damn good signing for them to improve that secondary. Kind of the Justin Simmons replacement, kind of not, but a really damn good secondary piece for a Broncos team that made a lot of splashes last year and surprised a lot of people looking to go further in the playoffs this year. Josh Sweat signs with the Arizona Cardinals for a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. I really like this signing for Arizona, and this is the Super Bowl tax coming in for Philadelphia. That's a lot of money for Josh Sweat, but he is worth it. He's going to put in the work in Arizona. And the Cardinals were a team last year who damn near shocked a lot of people and damn near won their division, looking to possibly win the division this year. And Josh Sweat will be a massive factor into doing so if he can continue his level of play that he had in Philadelphia. So I do like that signing. Laremy Tunsil was traded to the Washington Commanders for a swap of 4th-round picks, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th. I believe the 3rd and 7th are for next year's draft. So it's a this year's 4th and a this year's 2nd. This is not what Houston gave up to get Laremy Tunsil, but they move on from Tunsil pretty earlier than I expected. Yeah, he's had some issues with pre-snap penalties and all that, but they signed him to an extension not too long ago, and now he's on a move to Washington, and Washington is building that offensive line. They're building this team really nicely. This is a massive factor into that, and I really, really like what Washington has going for them. They made the NFC Championship game last year and are not taking it for granted. They're using that to build their team. Jeremy Chinn signs with the Las Vegas Raiders for a 2-year, $16 million deal. A pretty solid secondary option for them. And as they're trying to bolster that a little bit, played in Carolina the past few years. Again, is solid. Nothing to write home about. $16 million deal feels about right. Do really like this signing. Brandon Stevens signs with the Jets on a 3-year, $36. Another solid secondary signing there for the Jets, who just lost DJ Reed. So now you bring him in to pair with Sauce Gardner. I do like that decision. Nate Hobbs signs with the Green Bay Packers on a 4-year, $48, looking to improve that secondary a little bit as well. Although it was already a pretty damn good secondary last year, it is feeling like Jair Alexander is on his way out. So you bring in Nate Hobbs to kind of be that replacement, or to pair him with him, and overall have a pretty damn good offensive line. Dante Jackson signed to the Los Angeles Chargers on a 2-year, $13 million deal. Another solid secondary option, a little bit more on the cheaper side compared to things. But for the Chargers, that's all you're really looking for. You already have a pretty damn good defense and good secondary. Just looking to bring someone in to be another piece to all that. and Dante Jackson is exactly that. Kenny Pickett was traded to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th-round pick. And we very well might see Kenny Pickett be the starter for Cleveland next year in some capacity. Deshaun Watson is expected to be out for the season with a setback to his Achilles rehab. And now that Dorian Thompson-Robinson was traded, Kenny Pickett is, I'm pretty sure, the only quarterback on the roster for the Browns. They obviously are most likely going to draft someone, or very easily could draft someone. That's what I'm saying. Maybe we see Kenny Pickett. I think if anything, we'll see Kenny Pickett early on. And then if they did draft one, we then see him come in. But I do really like this trade for both sides. I feel like DTR having a fresh start in Philly is good for him. I did like him coming out of UCLA. And then Kenny Pickett having another opportunity to potentially start is good for him. Javarius Ward signs with the Indianapolis Colts for a 3-year, $60 million deal. Again, the Colts looking to just keep building on that secondary. This is another good piece in doing so. Dalvin Tomlinson was released from the Browns. We're still waiting to figure out where he will be going, but it's a pretty solid defensive tackle there for some team to pick up. Zach Wilson is now the new backup of the Miami Dolphins, signing a 1-year, $6 million deal. The idea is he will probably compete for the backup job with whoever we draft in day 2 or day 3, and also maybe Tyler Huntley, as there's talks that Miami was looking to bring him back. But Zach Wilson had a first start in Denver last year, wasn't asked to play, so he kind of had a good mental reset. Now he comes to Miami, where there's a non-zero chance that he's going to be asked to play this year. So hopefully he's going to be looking better than he did in New York. Ryan Kelly signs with the Minnesota Vikings on a 2-year, $18 million deal. I like that signing to improve the center position. And overall, again, the Vikings are looking to have a similar to, if not better, offense than they did last year. And building up that secondary is going to help with J.J. McCarthy coming in, especially coming off of that injury. Darius Slayton re-signs with the New York Giants on a 3-year, $36 million deal. This is going to help whatever quarterback they draft. This Darius Slayton is a very solid receiving option. And most likely, I'm feeling like it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. But the Giants have some semblance of a receiving room now with Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, and Jalen Hyatt. So a pretty solid 3 setup, but it could obviously improve on Jalen Hyatt a little bit. Matt Collins signs with the New England Patriots on a 2-year, $8.4 million deal. I really like this signing for the Patriots. It improves the receiving room just a little bit. Collins is a great deep threat. It's a great deep threat receiving option. He played in Buffalo the past few years, was a Raider, started his career in Miami, and can really just be a go-get-it receiver who is gritty. He grinds. He works hard. He plays well. I do like this signing for New England, and is a perfect Patriot way type of player. Javonte Williams signs with the Dallas Cowboys for a 1-year, $3 million deal. I am shocked he did not return to Denver, but I do like this signing for the Cowboys to kind of try and improve that running back by committee that they had last year. And who knows, maybe Javonte Williams end up being the primary head of that running back room for the Cowboys come the season start. But I do like this move nonetheless. Dre Greenlaw signs with the Denver Broncos for a 3-year, $35 million deal. Again, Denver is building that defense to an insane level, and I love it. It is great. I wish Miami was doing something similar. Hell, I wanted Miami to sign Hufanga and Greenlaw, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it. And this is going, and Denver's defense is going to be a threat next year. Miami signs James Daniels to a 3-year, $24 million deal. They finally addressed the offensive line. He played in Pittsburgh last year, was injured towards Achilles last year, but the year before, he played in 15 games and played well. Doesn't get called for a lot of penalties in that 2023 season. He only had 2 penalties in the 15 games, played the majority of snaps, and is to improve the offensive line. So hopefully we no longer have Liam Eichenberg starting at right guard. I do like this signing a lot. Miami then also signed Larry Borom to a deal. No details on that one just yet, but is an offensive tackle to come in and be a solid depth piece, most likely behind Austin Jackson, with the idea that Teron Armstead stays, but if he retires, then I could see Larry Borom being a platoon tackle for both Patrick Paul and Austin Jackson. Chase Young re-signs with the New Orleans Saints on a 3-year, $51 million deal, and I really love the Saints bringing back Chase Young. He kind of found a little bit of a quiet resurgence in New Orleans last year, after struggling in Washington to begin his career. So the Saints bringing him back, giving him kind of like showing that they trust him. I do like that. I feel like Chase Young could be a damn good player for them. Najee Harris signs with Los Angeles Chargers on a 1-year, $9.25 million deal. I'm curious on what this means for J.K. Dobbins, but Najee Harris is a really damn good player and is a damn good power back. And now behind a much better offensive line in the Chargers, he is really going to be able to shine, despite the fact he has had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Byron Murphy re-signs with the Minnesota Vikings for a 3-year, $66 million deal. And again, I love this, bringing back your guy. He played really well for Minnesota last year. That entire Minnesota defense was a really damn good defense last year. So bringing him back, he really likes playing with Brian Flores and that team as a whole. The Vikings are looking to not be a fluke team and to continue to win in ways. And then the final deal at the end of Monday, Andre Cisco signs a 1-year, $10 million deal with the New York Jets. He played in Jacksonville last year, was a pretty damn good safety. The Jets looking to still improve that secondary unit, which was a secondary unit that underperformed last year, and part of it was the safety position. So I do like the Jets making this move. I am curious on what this is going to mean for that team as a whole and what Aaron Glenn has planned with Andre Cisco. But he's a gritty player, good tenacity, plays really hard and plays really well. And this is a damn good move for the Jets. Well, this was a bit of a longer recap video than expected. There's still a bunch of guys I did not talk about. These are kind of just the main ones I wanted to touch on. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.